Hello and welcome. This is the Ministry of the Real Truth, and today we are asking the question, which is the authentic ancient text? The ancient or old Ketav Ashurit, or the ancient or old Ktav Ivri, or ancient or old Hebrew, or the Ketav Ashurit. And we have come across a website at j.peg.org where someone has asked the question, what is the authentic ancient Hebrew alphabet? We have the supposed original, we have access to the original Ktav Ashurit, Brita Lishana Artika Supraya of the Assyrian Aramaic, or the Assyrian, translated into English by a native-born Mesopotamian Aramaic-speaking translator, filmmaker Victor N. Alexander. And we also have a copy of his translation of the supposed ancient or old Galilean Aramaic that Jesus and the 12 disciples spoke and wrote in, translated by Victor N. Alexander into English. So we have been informed by the translator Victor N. Alexander that the original language spoken by God was the ancient or old Aramaic. The patriarch Abraham and his family, when in Ur of Chaldea, Mesopotamia, of Assyria, spoke and wrote in this language, or possibly a Chaldean Aramaic. Okay, so we're aiming to find out which one was actually written, or spoken and written. All the scriptures were recorded in that, or the ancient Ktav Ivri, or Old Hebrew. So again, we are looking at a website called chabad.org, where this question was asked: what is the authentic ancient Hebrew alphabet? Ktav Ivri versus Ketav Ashurit by Yehuda Shurpin. So it gives a lot of information here. Here's the question asked. This person recently read about some ancient writings that were in a script called Proto-Hebrew, which the Jews supposedly used to write in before the current Hebrew script. What's up with that? Which is the authentic ancient Hebrew alphabet, and what script was the original Torah written, or the original biblical scriptures? That's what we're asking, but this person here is asking what script was the original Torah, or the book of instruction, or the law, written in. And the reply: indeed, there are two scripts. One is Ktav Ivri, Hebrew script, also called Phoenician or Proto Paleo-Hebrew. This is the, quote, alternative, unquote, form of the ancient Hebrew alphabet you have discovered. The script was still widely used during the age of the Mishnah. It's one of the old Jewish books, and was well known to the sages, scribes, prophets, etc. The other script, Ktav Ashurit, quote, Assyrian script, unquote, is the one we know today as the Hebrew alphabet. Okay, so that's the one today known as the Hebrew alphabet. Okay, and these are some examples of the Ashurit, the differences between the Ashurit and the Ivri script. While this may be a fascinating revelation for some, your question regarding the script the Torah was written in is not a new one. In fact, the Talmud itself discusses this very question and gives three opinions. Because it has been said that the Jewish scholars, the rabbis of today, they know of this script, Ktav Ashurit. and they, along with the Roman Catholic Church, admit that it has played a great part in the biblical scriptures up till today. Okay. In fact, the Talmud itself discusses this very question and gives three opinions. A. Ma Sutra, some say Ma Ukva, said originally the Torah was given to Israel in Ivri letters and in the sacred Hebrew language. Later, in the times of Ezra, the Torah was given in Ashurit script and the Hebrew language, leaving the Ivri characters and the Aramaic language for the commoners. Who are the commoners? Rav Chisda said the Cuthites, Samaritans. What is Ketav Ivri? Rav Chisda said Libana script, i.e. the ancient Hebrew. Yeah, they didn't like to mix with the Samaritans. The Jews in Christ's day. They looked down upon them. And then there's that parable where the man came across another man beaten, being robbed, mugged, whatever, and left for dead. And the good Samaritan came along and picked him up, tended to his wounds, put him somewhere in an inn, paid for him, and he said, I'll come back. La 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 la. Okay. Is that either allegorical or literal? That an actual Samaritan, after I think a couple of Pharisees saw him and walked across the other side of the street. Okay. B. It was taught. Rebbe said Torah was originally given to Israel in Ashurit script. When they sinned, it was changed to Ro'et's Ivri script. When they repented, Ashurit script was reintroduced, so they were like swapping and changing for different reasons. C. Shimon bin Elazar said in the name of Eliezer bin Pata, who said in the name of that's might be short for a rabbi, I'm not sure. Elazar Hamadai. This writing was never changed, i.e. it was always an Ashurit script. That's what the Aramaic speaking translator, native-born Mesopotamian Victor N. Alexander would probably say as well. Okay, from the Tower of Babel, from Adam to the Tower of Babel, they were speaking that Aramaic. And this is an example of the Aramaic script, apparently. This is a page of the scripture of the Samaritans who still use Ivri writing. Okay, that's Ivri. So seemingly, opinions B and C hold that the Torah was originally written in Ashurit or Ashuri, and opinion A holds that it was in Ivri, but it's not so simple, as we shall see when examining the tablets here, because some people say it was the Ashurit, some people say no, it was the Ivri. Yeah. Ivri first, Ashurit next, yeah, etc. It's always that kind of debate, argument. Miraculous letters. The Talmud describes the miraculous scripts of the tablets. Rav Chisda said the letters Mem and Samek of the tablets stood in place only by a miracle. The Talmud explains that the letters were engraved all the way through the stone to the opposite side. Now, since the letters Samek and final Mem are completely closed, the section of stone in their centers was unattached to the body of the tablets and could have remained in place only through a miracle. This, however, is true only with regard to Ktav Ashurit. In Ktav Ivri, neither the Mem nor the Samek are completely closed. What is especially difficult with this passage is that its author, Rav Chisda, who is effectively saying that the tablets were given in Ktav Ashurit, is the very same rabbi who agrees with and elaborates upon the first opinion above, that the Torah was given in Ktav Ivri. What complicates things even further is that there is an opinion in the Jerusalem Talmud that it was the letter Ayin that was held in place miraculously This would imply that it was written in Ketav Ivri and not Ashurit, since the letter Ayin in Ivri, as opposed to Ashurit, is indeed a closed letter. See below how the Samek and Mem are closed letters in Ashurit and the Ayin is closed in Ivri. Special script versus common script. There's the Ivri and there's Ashuri or Ashurit. To resolve this, Rabbi Yom Tov al-Ishbili, known as Ritva, approximately 1250 to 1330, explains that the tablets and the Torah scroll that was kept in the Holy Ark were written in Ktav Ashurit. This was considered a sacred script. Yes, Victor N. Alexander, in his translation of the Brita or Genesis, and Lishana Sapraya, etc., says it's a scribal old tongue. The Lishana Artika Sapraya was a sacred old tongue, old scribal language, right? That they used, that the Old Testament scribes and monks used around about 800 BCE and onward. To resolve this, Rabbi Yom Tov al-Ishbili, known as Ritva, approximately 1250 to 1330, explains that the tablets and the Torah scroll that was kept in the Holy Ark were written in Ketav Ashurit. This was considered a sacred script. However, neither Moses or the Israelites wished to use this holy script for mundane purposes. This reverence extended even to the Torah scrolls that were written for purposes of study by the masses, so they were written in Ketav Ivri. One, say the Ketav Ashurit for the priestly order, Moses in priestly order, and another one for the commoners or the locals, right? The Ketav Ivri. Or as Rabbi Yehuda Loehr, known as Maharal of Prague, dated 1609, puts it, while the tablets and the original Torah scroll were written in a beautiful Ashurit script, Ashurit can be translated to mean beautiful. It is only logical that the Torah for the masses would be given to them in a script that people were familiar with. Probably like the Latin, the old Latin. None of the commoners knew that. Okay, so it's just kept for that priestly scribes and monks, that order. Okay, people weren't taught it or weren't privileged to be taught it. Okay, so they never knew it, so they couldn't read those Latin texts, which the Roman Catholic Church probably had a hidden motive to keep it like that, so that people wouldn't know. They'd be dumb to it, right? They just have to trust what they claimed, what they stated. Rabbi David Ibn Zimra, known as Radbaz, in about 1479 to 1573, explains that when we say that the tablets were written in Ashurit script, this is only the first tablets, the ones about which the verse states. Now the tablets were God's work, and the inscription was God's inscription engraved on the tablets. The second set of tablets, however, the ones about which God tells Moses, inscribe these words for yourself, were written in the script of the masses, i.e. Ktav Ivri. Thus the Babylonian Talmud is referring to the first set of tablets, while the tradition in the Jerusalem Talmud is referring to the second set. However, the debate in the Talmud about the script of the Torah concerns which letters the Jews themselves used. Okay, in the on Victor N. Alexander's website, va.com, he states in Exodus, he's translated Exodus, and it states that God spoke to Moses, right? Who's flying around or sitting on or standing on a flaming fire, a flaming disc, not talking through a burning bush. And he said to him in ancient Aramaic script, Ahayah Asher Ahayah, which means I, Ashur I, or as other people know, I am I. Right? I am what I am. Okay? I am that I am. Depends on how you're reading it, right? So we're going by the ancient Lishana Article Supraya, the Ashurit script. Okay, that's what it says. It says Ahayah Asher Ahayah. And the Assyrian title for God was Ashur, Asher. Don't be confused with Jacob's later grandson, Asher. Okay, there was another person there, I believe, I came across. He had the name Ashur, but that was a completely different Ashur. Okay, this was, the title of God. One of the titles of God, because God never had names, and he had titles because it was too sacred, to utter. As the Jews will attest as well. So that's probably why they use Hashem. I'm not too sure on that one. This rabbi, he stated that the tablets were written in Ashurit script. This is only the first tablets, the ones about which the verse states. Now the tablets were God's work, and the inscription was God's inscription engraved on the tablets. The second set of tablets, however, the ones about which God tells Moses, inscribe these words for yourself, were written in the script of the masses, i.e. Ketav Ivri. Thus the Babylonian Talmud is referring to the first set of tablets, while the tradition in the Jerusalem Talmud is referring to the second set. However, the debate in the Talmud about the script of the Torah concerns which letters the Jews themselves used. Rad Baz further points out that until the Babylonian exile, the Jews were referred to as Hebrews, Ivriim, and their scripts may well have been the Hebrew Ivri script. However, after the Babylonian exile, they were no longer called Hebrews, perhaps because at this time the beautiful Ktav Ashurit script was taught by the prophets. Okay, he's got some coins here. These coins with Ivri writing, this ancient Hebrew, were minted during the Mishnaic era in the years following the destruction of the Second Temple. Belshazzar and the writing on the wall. Some commentators posit that this is why when the writing appeared on the wall during Belshazzar's feast, that's Daniel, none of the Jews present were able to interpret it. Most Jews were only familiar with Ketav Ivri. Only Daniel, a leader and the wisest Jew at the time, was familiar with Ktav Ashurit. After this incident, the script became somewhat better known. King Hosea and Moses' Torah scroll. The above explanation also sheds light on another historical incident. In the course of the repairs to the Holy Temple in King Hosea's reign, the high priest Hilkiah found a Torah scroll. Apparently he found sections of Deuteronomy, and he took it to king. Either he took it to another priest or he took it to the king, and he spoke to him in his language. He was an Assyrian. I forgot what his name was, and he believed it all and wrote it down and supposedly converted to the one true God. He found a Torah scroll, and the Jews turned to a scribe to have it read. In the verses, Hilkiah describes finding not a but the Torah scroll, i.e. the Torah scroll written by Moses himself. He found a portion of Deuteronomy in this old temple, ruined temple. The reason many couldn't read it was because it was written in Ktav Ashurit. That's why that king understood it. Okay? That king sitting on the throne at the time, he was an Assyrian, and that's why he could understand it to accept the one true God, and then etc. Script but not language. Although there are differing opinions as to the type of script the ancient Jews used, it is important to keep in mind that there is no disagreement regarding the language itself. All agree that the language of the Torah was Hebrew, the holy tongue, the language of creation. Okay. All Jews believe that. Okay. But you'd come across someone native-born Aramaic-speaking Mesopotamian translator, Victor N. Alexander, that would disagree with that, and he would say the language of creation, the holy tongue, was the Lishana Artika or Supraya. Okay, the old, the sacred scribal old tongue, spoken and written or recorded by ancient scribes and monks around 800 BCE. This is sometime after Jonah had visited Nineveh, which people there were Ashuri or Ashur I, and they spoke Ashurit, because the king, when he heard all that Jonah said, he decided to repent and convert to the one true God of Jonah. So he wrote all that he heard down in cuneiform on clay tablets, put them in the library, right? And then told all the people, go break these idols, etc., etc. Put on sackcloth, throw dirt over yourselves, because we're about to face the wrath from this one true God. He's really angry at us. So we're all repenting, we're all converting to Jonah's God, because he's one true God, right? And then they were saved from that destruction. Okay, and those tablets were found around about 1900s by Henry Layard and his Arabic friend. Okay, dug up that Nineveh library, because Nineveh was invaded, that was destroyed, and they shipped 50,000 tablets to the British Museum, and that's where Victor Alexander, as part of his world venture, right, he went to the British Museum and Louvre in Paris, etc., and he looked at those ancient Mesopotamian artifacts and found some cuneiform or cuneiform underneath them, but underneath that he found Aramaic, the ancient or the old Ketav Ashurit, and he translated it into English. Okay? That's what he states on his downed website, va.com. We can do another video on that, or we probably already have, explaining that. But if we haven't, we can verify if we have already. Probably put a link below this video to show that we have, or we can do a video on it at a later date. Okay. And here's some footnotes from different places. As reference. And this is a little bit about Rabbi Yehuda Shurpin, a noted scholar and researcher. Rabbi Yehuda Shurpin serves as content editor at Chabad.org and writes the popular weekly Ask Rabbi Why column. Rabbi Shurpin is the rabbi of the Chabad Shul in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, USA, where he resides with his wife Esther and their children. And on that website, there's a link here. You can go find out more about this guy. Okay. Yeah, that's basically to show you sources, a link to the sources to verify, is this guy the real deal, or is he talking through his orifice or whatever, telling a whole lot of lies, because maybe these modern rabbis, etc., are giving you a modified Hebrew. Okay, that's what we're trying to pick up on as well. Okay, maybe, as we came across that the Pharisees, after Christ's death, etc., they may have rewritten everything, changed everything, brought out a new lot of writing. Not too sure on that one either. That's just what we've come across, because maybe Toby, a singer, was it Tanakh Talk? They may have something completely different, which we found, that says no. The Pharisees didn't change it. There's a video. Christians state that the Pharisees, etc., the rabbis, have changed everything. Right? There's a modified language. It's not the ancient or old Ktav Ivri. It's something completely different. Okay? So you have to do your research on that. Find out the truth, the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but that truth. Establish those facts, those claimed facts as facts, or establish the facts. Let the evidence prove itself. Yeah, is it irrefutable and infallible? People can deny it, debunk it, or they can debunk it as much as they like, but they can't deny it if the evidence proves itself, right? If the facts are established facts, etc., etc. So yeah, one needs to do their own personal research, to find this all out. But yeah, we'll take the word of this guy. We can look on Wikipedia or something else like that. People say, oh, don't trust Wikipedia. But yeah, it might have some information on there. And then you go to some other website or blog site or whatever, and it's exactly the same information. A daughter says, well, we're taught at school not to trust Wikipedia because it's all copy and paste, it's inaccurate. They get it from somewhere else online and all this sort of stuff. They need clarification, citations are needed. You basically have to have the proof, references, links to sources and all that sort of stuff. Really do your homework. You have to go and look at the site. It's actually got a lot of good information there. We find that a lot of the information on there is on other sites, blog sites. You check the date, right? They may have copied and pasted it from Wikipedia and then put it on there. I think you might be able to find out when that information was posted on Wikipedia and then compare it with the one that's on the blog. Okay, when was that blog created? When was it published? Okay, so then you get the idea. Well, they obviously got that information from there, or the reverse. Okay, how old was the blog? Was the information then put onto Wikipedia? Yeah. So the one on the blog is actually the original or older, but Wikipedia is just a copy and paste of that or others. Okay, so hopefully that helps, right? Because we have, as we said, we have the Galilean Aramaic New Testament in English from native-born Aramaic-speaking Mesopotamian translated filmmaker, Mesopotamian historian, Victor Numrud Alexander from Bet Narain, right? And he actually states throughout this that the Ashurit was the original scribe or sacred old tongue of the scribes and monks of 800 BCE and onwards. Okay. And then it had a sister language, which was the Ketav Ivri or the Hebrew, which he states the Aramaic, the Ashurit, is the older sister, right, and so forth. Yeah, you have to do all your research because there's debates on that. This Victor Alexander saying one thing and some rabbi saying something else. So you really have to do your homework. So if you like that, subscribe to our channel below. Don't forget to set that notification bell, so you don't miss out on any of our videos, and give us a thumbs up if you like it. Add your comments below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And then go tell our friends, hey, this is the original language of the scriptures, okay? Not this modified Hebrew, if it is indeed modified, or this modified Masoretic text, whatever, and so forth. Not the Greek, okay? Because that's not the original Greek. It's probably a modified Greek. It's not the ancient old Greek or Koine Greek, right? Yeah. So yeah, we'll see you on the next video.